everybody, it's Dave Williamson and I am the Toy Car Collector. My website is the ToyCarCollector.com. Now what I'm here to talk about today is not toy cars at all. This time it's U.S. postage stamps. Yes, that's right, I love U.S. postage stamps. Have loved them ever since I was a child and ever since my great-grandmother gave me her collection of postage stamps from the 1930s and 1940s. Now what I did a couple of years ago is I bought myself a set of postage stamp albums. These are brand new American Heirloom Collection postage stamp albums. These come from the Mystic Stamp Company. Mystic Stamp Company, if you want to look these up. These things are fantastic, and what's cool about them is that they are beautifully made. They've got some wonderful illustrations, a lot of information, and every stamp has a built-in holder for the stamp, the stamp mount. These are already in the books. So if you haven't seen these before, these things are fantastic. So of course, the front of the book has all the rare stamps in it, which I have very few of. Got a few, all the cheap ones, of course. And basically, if you haven't collected postage stamps, or if you're interested in postage stamps, there are two types of postage stamps, expensive ones and cheap ones. The expensive ones you probably never have, and you probably never see unless you go to a stamp show. And the cheap ones, they're kind of a dime a dozen. You can pretty much buy an entire postage stamp collection for a couple hundred bucks. You can get all of the stamps up to, say, 1980 that have very little value. But you'll get a nice collection out of that. Now, I've bought a few collections, and some of the collections that I bought have had some nice stamps in it. Some of the harder to get stamps. Generally, the higher value stamps, you know, the 1 and your 2 cent stamps are the common ones, and 3 cents. And then the ones that are higher than that are much more difficult to get. And of course, they vary as to condition and whatnot. And that's a whole thing. I can't really tell you much about that. All I can tell you is a little bit about these books, and I just love these books. They are fantastic, and they're relatively inexpensive at about 80 bucks a book, and there are 4, 5, 6 books in the series. A person doesn't necessarily need them all. A person doesn't necessarily need the first book, because that's all the most expensive stamps. But take a look here now. I bought a few collections over the last, say, 10 years. It's been a lot of fun. The other day, we were on vacation in California, and I went to a thrift store, and I got this book. And that was really cool, because you don't really find stamps in stores too much. You can run some ads, and even running ads in my town, I haven't found any stamps. Fortunately for me, I have a world-renowned stamp store not too far from my house called Brookman Stamps in Vancouver, Washington. And you can go over there and look at stamps, and it's a real neat deal to stop over there. In fact, the last time I was over there, I bought a World Stamp album that had a lot of really old stamps in it for not too much money. I think about $100. Had a lot of beautiful stamps, so I had to buy that. But anyway, what's really cool about this, now this is a white Ace album. These are real popular years ago. They might be still popular, but I know they were popular when these were made, I think in the 80s, 70s or 80s. Anyway, they have pictures of all the stamps, these books. And what you do with these books is you buy these mounts, and then you mount your stamps in it. Now, what was neat about this find is that over here in 1929, that's where the stamps start in this book. It had the Kansas, these are called the Kansas Overprints, and they had printed Kansas on these so that they wouldn't get smuggled across state lines or stolen and smuggled across state lines. There's a Kansas Overprints, and then there's also, oops, I missed one. There's also a Nebraska Overprints. And what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to transfer these stamps into my new stamp album here, the Mystic Stamp albums, beautiful things that they are. And then take out my used ones. I just had a few used ones in here before. Got a few used ones, not too bad. But these ones are all mint and never used. Turns out that the value of these 2 pages right here is about $200. And I bought the whole thing for $36 with a discount. Plus, there's a lot more in this book. There's the issues of 1930, the presidential series of 1938, which is real cool, except for the 2 and the 5s. Those are the most expensive. Some of the coil stamps, if you're not familiar with that, these are stamps that come on a roll. These are horizontal. These are vertical. A few special delivery stamps, kind of nice. I always like them. They're not particularly valuable, but they're awfully neat. And then some of the newer stamps. Now, what was also neat about this book is there was some high value stamps in here. There's some postage due issues. They're actually not actually good for anything. All the old stamps, U.S. stamps, if they've never been used, are still good for U.S. postage. So if you get a $5 stamp, you can mail a package with that. And so pretty much any stamp is still usable, except postage due, of course, which was not something that you could use. And then this particular book also had a bunch of stamps which could be used or put in your book. And it also had, oops, I just knocked that one out of place. I also had some high value stamps in it, a couple of them, which was really cool because, you know, you don't really, when you're just collecting stamps to never use again, you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money for them. And most U.S. postage stamps can be bought for face value if you have a good source. Now, look at that. There's a $10 stamp right there. There's several $5 and $2 stamps already. That was kind of cool. So I was all excited when I found this book. And when I started collecting, actually not collecting, but buying stamp things, I started buying stamp albums. If you get familiar with the different stamp albums, then it's a lot easier to know what you're going to get in the collection when you get a particular book. So there were some certain books that I really like, and I bought a few of, and now I'm pretty much happy with my stamp collection. So I just try to add a few things now and then. And tonight I'm getting to add the Nebraska and the Kansas Overprints, and maybe some other things. So, all right, that's it for now. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about these Mystic Stamp albums in just a bit. Thanks. Let me show you how this works. Now, these stamp mounts, they're like a little C. They little clip the stamp in there. You could just you stick the top part to the book, and then the bottom part you can open up to get the stamp out. You can come out the side here. It's pretty neat. And then to take the stamp out, just be real careful. Let me reach in there. Sorry about that. Pull that stamp out. And that is a mint stamp, I believe. Got the gum on it. Never been mounted. Oh, wait a minute. That one's been mounted. Thought I better make a note of that. It's important with stamps. There's stamps that are gummed and stamps that don't have gum on them anymore, that maybe they've been used. But new stamps will have either perfect gum, or they'll have gum that's been slightly used, or in this case it's probably because it's been mounted and then unmounted. So there was a stamp mount on there in the old days. They stick on there, and that hurts the value of a stamp. The best stamps, most valuable stamps, are the ones that have all of their glue intact and in nice shape, plus nicely centered, etc. So anyway, I'm going to go put this in the book here. And then all you do in the Mystic book is just raise up. It's like a double sheet here. You got to be careful not to get the back sheet, but you just raise up the double sheet. And let me get my finger in there. And anyway, let's see. It's kind of hard to hold this. I need an assistant. What if I put it down like that? Oops. Is that Robbie Robot back there? Yes, it is Robbie Robot. Look at him. Robbie, how you doing? He's got nothing to say for himself. All right, anyway, you just lift this up here. You get the idea. Can't do it with one hand. Hold it with a finger. Stick the stamp in there. Jiggle it around. Get it in the right place. And just let her be. And then over time that'll sort of semi-stick by static, I believe. And be real nice. Isn't that nice? That's real nice. Look over in the book here. Let's see. Look at this. Oh, yeah. All those are all used. And look at that. Nice. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. I love these books. Stamp collecting can be really, really fun. Oh, I love these. Louisiana Purchase, 1904. Oh, I thought I had more unused ones, but look at that. It's been a while since I worked on this. Oh, look at series of 1902. Very cool. Oh, look at the Pan American issues. Ooh, those are nice, huh? Can you see them? Those are beauties. Love those. Look at that. Series of 1898. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, stamp collecting. All right. Let's make it cool again. Okay, there we have the series of 1929 Kansas Overprints, the complete set. All of them were mint hinged, never used, but have been hinged before in another stamp album. and they look real nice. Most of them are pretty well centered. Only the 9-cent there, if you can see it, is a little off-centered. It's kind of one of the things that collectors look for. I'm not really that particular myself. I just want my stamps to be clean and pretty. What's really neat about getting like a whole set of stamps like this is that once you have all the colors, when you just have like these two, or maybe these three with the red, maybe up to the fourth one with purple or brown, it's kind of boring. But then when you pull back and you get the orange and the blue and olive, it's good looking, very pretty. Series of 1929 overprints. All right, let's do the next page, the Nebraskas. I just got through updating a lot of these. I had quite a few that I was able to upgrade from this new book I bought for the 1938 presidential series. It's quite a beautiful set of stamps. Lots of colors. Lots of neat colors. All presidents in bust form, like a statue. Profile. All the way up to Taft with the 50 cent. 1938. And then turning the next page, the Wilson, Harding, and Coolidge stamps. I still need a $5 mint stamp. Those are kind of spendy, $2. And then I did upgrade the $1. 1938. $5 in 1938. I wonder what you could buy in 1938 with $5. Hey, this is pretty cool. I got the entire set of 1959 postage due stamps in this set, so I'll be able to fill in this lovely little page. And I actually got 2 sets in this set, so this has been very, very awesome. And I also filled in my special delivery page, which is cool. So I got this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, all out of that book. I'm only missing one. And I got this certified mail stamp from 1955. That was pretty darn cool. I think there's 5 books altogether. I've got my books up into like 1994, and the later years books, you can fill these in by buying the package deals from the post office. It's a lot of neat stuff, but you can just, I can't remember when, like in the 70s they started selling the complete series every year. And that fills in the books really nice. Here's the price list for the stamp albums. Looks like you can get 1987, what's that, 1 through 3 for $310. And they vary from a low of $80 up to $130. I collect, let's see, I collect up to 1994, so that is the first 4 versions. There's also, I think there's, each one of these books has all the stamps from that period, including some of the specialty stamps like airmails and whatnot, which are referred to as back of book or BOB stamps. I bought an extra binder and took all my back of book stamps and put them in one binder. There's a little blurb about the Hingeless American Heirloom Album. Now you can get a hold of Mystic at 1-800-433-7811. That's 1-800-433-7811. Now let me show you another way of collecting up your stamps. So here's what's called a stamp stock page, and these come in a variety of sizes as far as the heights here, the number of these little rows that they have. So you can buy these pages, they're double-sided, and then you can stock your stamps in there. Well, that one doesn't really fit in there, but they come in a variety of sizes. I got a few in this book, and they work real nice. And then I'll show you a way I've updated that. After I got those stamp pages, the stock pages, then I thought, well, I don't want these things rubbing against each other naturally. And so I thought, okay, what better way to do it than to put these dividers between the pages, and then you can put your stamps in there and have a nice divider between them. And as you can see, I've got some duplicates of some of the more easy to get stamps. Most of these are used, of course, and the older stuff. And that was one way of doing it. So here's a big bunch of books, and or a bunch of pages. And now let's show it even another way. Okay, now then I came up with this method, and this is pretty cool. So I have the stamp stock pages, and then I cut out pages from the Mystic Stamp catalog, which you can easily get by calling Mystic Stamp Company. They send these things out all the time, like 4 or 5 times a year, I think, and they're really cool. They're free, and they have all the stamps that you could ever possibly want. They will sell you stamps, of course. That's their business. And then I used this too, so I took one of these clear sheets, clear cover sheets with a piece of heavy-duty paper, and then I cut out the page, put it in there, and then the idea is to whatever extras of these stamps I have, I'll put those on a page. And then actually this should be another one over here. Let's see if we've done it right on one of these. Okay, so we've got like, these are some of my favorite here, the National Park issues from 1934. So we have the stamps. No, we still don't have the, I guess the idea was to have it on both sides. So you'd have another page here with the matching. So we got that, and then the presidential series. That one. Let's see if I did any of these with 2 pages. No, I think I just started with single pages on each one for now. Oh, this one looks good. Here we go. Let's see. All right. This one doesn't have its plastic deal. Okay, so say Great Americans. We have 2 pages. One on one side, one on the other side. See how nice that would be? So that's a good way to collect multiples of stamps if you happen to want to do such a thing. Usually if you're buying collections, then you'll get a lot of extra stamps that you can put together like this. And it works out real nice. Alright, here's a blast from the past. My original stamp collecting book from my high school years, possibly my grade school years, I don't remember exactly. United States Liberty Stamp Album, personally edited by H.E. Harris. Let's take a look at the date on that. Let's see, 1972. So I probably bought this in 73, which would have meant I was in high school, maybe a freshman in high school. And then my great-grandmother had sent me her stamp collection. And of course, if you're not aware of it already, pretty much everybody in America collected stamps as a family back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, maybe 20s, who knows. But that's why it's so hard to get anything in stamps today. People have been collecting stamps since the 1800s, actually since stamps first came out. So all the good old stamps have been collected up, probably. And anyway, this is my original stamp album that I collected when I was a child. Sort of a child. I don't think I considered myself a child when I was in high school. But it's pretty cool. Now these the mounts in this book are called crystal mounts. And the way they work is that they are clear plastic. They come in sort of like a tube. There it is there. And you just cut them off the size you want. You put them on your stamps. Everything in this stamp album is used. It was a pretty good stamp album, but this was typical of what a kid could expect to have when he's a kid. A bunch of used stamps here and there. None of their rarities, of course. And then the 50s, 60s, and 70s, those were pretty easy to get, but even those I didn't have all of them. So this book is kind of empty-ish. There's some things in there. I think got a lot of 40s in there. Overrun countries, those are real popular. 1940s, famous authors, pretty cool. Yeah, so that's one. Now, you can buy a U.S. Liberty stamp album like this on eBay, and I bought a couple of them for like $100 with all those stamps in there. It makes a good start. Here's another Harris album, 1979 copyright. I really like this one. I bought this one, I think it was about $110, but it has lots of stamps in it. And they're all, there's no, what's neat about this book is that they're all just hinged. The stamps are mounted with stamp hinges and put on the pages. And they look really pretty super cool. Now, I've never add to this. It would just be too much work. I don't have time for it. But it's very cool. Like if somebody was to come over, I could show them a stamp album. This would be perfect for showing off stamps and what stamp collecting is all about. And they're all used stamps, which means they have really little or no value, so they're inexpensive. but it makes a real neat stamp collection, especially for showing off. Look at that. It's even got all the 1938 series like we got last night, all mostly used, almost all used. National Parks. This is a neat series here, the Washington Bicentennial from 1932. That makes a really great series, especially when the stamps aren't not used. And I'll show you some other things you can do with stamp album pages. I've cut out some stamp album pages and then have them framed, and that looks really great. So this is another book that I'm pretty sure I bought this for around 110 bucks. Pretty nice stamp album. Here's another batch of stamps I bought. I think this one came without a binder, and I just put it in this binder. 1980 Harris beige pages. These didn't have anything rare in them, but everything is in crystal mounts. 1926 on. Looks like we need to fix that page. Everything's used, or most of the stuff is used, but it's really nicely full. Really nicely full book. Another good book to put on your coffee table. People get a kick out of old stamps. Kind of reminds you of your childhood, definitely, because, you know, people don't really collect stamps anymore. I had gone to a stamp show locally a couple of years back. It's quite scary, actually. It's amazing. The age of the stamp collector is it's up there a bit, I would say. And those people are, compared to collectors of other things, stamp collectors are extremely intense. They are intense, because stamp collecting takes a lot of brain power. So this is a pretty neat. I like the beige pages. They look really great. There they are. Look at that. Postal People issue. Now, if you're not already aware of it, there are basically two types of stamps. The ones with the pictures on them that usually celebrate something, those are called commemorative stamps. Commemorative stamps. And then these kind of stamps are called definitives. Those are the kind of stamps that are just day in and day out use, like a business stamp. Never changes. They use them for years and years. The commemoratives change regularly, especially today. Back in the day, I don't know how long they lasted, but they are generally no more than a year for sure. And today they come out in like a monthly, I believe. So like these definitives, 1954 to 73, these stamps were used. They didn't change too much. For, what is that, almost 20 years, 64 to 73, 19 years. Liberty issue 1954 to 68, and they just use those stamps all the time. It's just a regular day in and day out stamp.